Hey everyone, it's Jacqueline at Pixie Dust PhD. Today we are talking about kids at Walt Disney World, but I am not a parent myself, so I've enlisted the help of my friend Jen from Dillo's Diz. I'll leave links to all things Dillo's Diz in the description below. They have an awesome podcast called Theme Park Thursday, which I think you'll enjoy a lot. But beside the podcast, you'll find links to their Twitter, Instagram, Facebook page, Patreon, merch, all the things. And I'll also include links for Jen's more personal pages outside Dillo's Diz, so she is on Twitter and Instagram at jenillo and on TikTok at jenillotok. Previously, we chatted about strollers at Walt Disney World as well as feeding your kids at Disney World. And for this last part of our conversation series about kids at Disney World, we are talking about rides. Some of the rides thematically are kind of scary, even if the ride movements itself are pretty benign. And then you have actual scary rides. They can get pretty thrilling. Jen has a 9-year-old son and a 6-year-old daughter, so we will hear a little bit about her experience with their progression through the rides. All right, here with Jen today, talking about kids at Walt Disney World, and specifically we are going over rides. So obviously there are height restrictions, and you can look those up online in advance, and don't cheat them, please. They are there for everybody's safety.
Seriously.
But other than, obviously if your kid's too short, they can't ride. Other than that, sort of what's your approach to rides for your kids at Disney World?
Yeah, it's funny because you planted this seed in my head and I was like, what is my approach? I don't know. Because we have been taking them since they were infants. We were taking them on the slower moving rides like Small World and things like that.
Carousel, right?
Yes, carousel. Infants, it depends on how infanty they are for the carousel. I did take my almost 4-month-old on Dumbo and I look back and go, should I have done that?
Turned out fine.
Fine. But I didn't even think twice about it, and I probably should have. But no, please don't comment and leave judgments. So again, you know your children best. But if they are that little, the slow moving rides are great, and walking around and taking in the scenery and all of that. As they get bigger, I would say, aside from height requirements, there are ride POVs on YouTube, so you can always check out rides and what they're actually like. And I know that might be a spoiler in a way, but if you have kids and you're kind of teetering on a roller coaster or something like Haunted Mansion, at least you can kind of know what to expect. And then your kid, so are they going to be scared? Is this too intense? Is this too fast? Is it whatever it is? Because again, as much as you may want to go on that ride, you're not going to have a fun time if they are miserable. So, and once again, I am coming from a place of someone who has been to Disney a lot. So I don't personally care as much if I'm not getting on certain rides. However, if you are like, I am going to Disney, I'm going on some of these newer Guardians of the Galaxy or older ones, Tower of Terror, or whatever it is that you really want to experience, you can always do a child swap so that you and your partner can still experience, or whoever you're with, grandparents, whoever wants to do it, you can always experience the ride still without taking the kids, which is a fantastic option. But yeah, you know your child's best, and you know what may be too much. And my kids have sometimes watched things on YouTube and like, oh, I want to go on that. And then they'll see it in person and be like, just kidding. So, you got to kind of play it out, I would say.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you as the parent tend to like make the plans, make the decisions, or do you like talk to them about it and be like, hey, so Haunted Mansion, like the ride isn't scary, it's very slow moving, but it's like really dark and there's like some spooky stuff and like some jump scares a little bit, that kind of stuff, and like let them feel it out with you?
Yes, for sure. I think aside from knowing your kid, you should be honest with them. And if a ride might be too dark. I mean, even some of, the Navi River Journey, my kids are not fans of that ride, even though they're cool with like Small World and it's a slow moving boat ride. But I think just it being dark and it's kind of like, what are these sounds in the darkness that I don't know where they're coming from? Not that they're like scared, but they're just like, nah, we're good with never going on that again. I'm okay with it. They like have no interest in heading back that way.
So wait, did they ride it or did they decide that from a point of view?
They did ride it, and then like when we've gone back to Animal Kingdom, they're like, we don't need to do that again. Yeah. But I have, Haunted Mansion, I've kind of talked through with them, and they're like, maybe we skip that one. And I'm like, really, I think you'd be okay, but okay, yeah, that's fine.
The pre-show is legit
That's
scary,
true.
I
Yes.
think. And
Yes, that's true.
I think every time we're in line for Haunted Mansion and Tower of Terror, those are the two ones especially where
Yes.
parents are like, it's not that scary, you'll be fine. And they're like trying
Yeah.
to talk their kid into it. I'm like, it's pretty scary, actually. Like,
Yeah. I mean, I have seen children in those pre-shows be hysterical, hyperventilating, breathing. And I'm like, oh, please don't take them on. Please don't take them. Just get out of here. Don't do it to yourself or them. Yeah, I just, again, you don't want you or your child to have a bad experience or a bad memory at Disney. And sometimes those things happen and that's unexpected. But if you can somehow prevent a bad experience, please do that. So be honest with your kids, talk through some of the rides with them, see what they're thinking. You know, sometimes kids feel like, oh, I'm ready for a roller coaster. And if they meet the height requirement, you can kind of talk through different options because some are faster than others. Some have more twists and turns. Something like Guardians of the Galaxy is more in the dark. So you kind of have to talk through the variations of roller coasters there are. But yes, definitely be honest the whole time.
I think also just trying to realize how scary things actually are, which I know is harder as an adult because it's like, you know, it's magical and you're in the moment or whatever, but you know, it's not real. But yeah, like, you know, the Haunted Mansion pre-show, for example, they show like a hanged skeleton.
True.
At the top of the ceiling. Like, it's not very family friendly, if you ask me.
I'm sure as soon as the cast member would be greeting us, my kids would be like, nope, they look scary. See you later. And like, just as they're being too serious. They're not smiling at me. They're not calling me princess. What's happening? Where am I? I'm out of here. Like, definitely. Yeah. So please be honest and think about those rides. And again, if you want to experience something and your kid's like, I am absolutely not going on that, or I have no interest in it, or whatever it is, consider the rider swap because I think that's a great option.
Pretty good option. And if you have bought Genie Plus for your party, you can always just do it just for one of you. Like the whole, you know, even if you've bought it for everyone, not everyone needs to redeem their Genie Plus Lightning Lane. You don't need to book it for your whole party even. So there's that.
Yeah.
So we've touched a little bit on thematic intensity of some of the rides, which otherwise are slow moving. Like the ride vehicle itself is not a big deal. But then there are the rides that are just more intense. So as your kids are getting older and as they are meeting those height requirements, you probably, you know, talk with them and do the point of views and all that stuff. But it is kind of that when you're there and you're looking at Slinky Dog Dash, you know, how does that go?
Right. And that's one of them. And they were like, yes, no. So my kids still have not been on that one. My older one is at least more interested in the coasters at this point than the younger one. But 2 summers ago, he was kind of like, yeah, I'm going on everything. And he said no to Slinky Dog. And we had kind of gone through our trip. So we had a park a day, but then we had Magic Kingdom one more time on like our last day. And on that last day is when he was like, yep, let's do this. I'm going for some rides today. And I'm like, oh, at the end of the trip, cool. But also, oh, but you missed out on all of these that you would probably be okay with now, like Test Track or something like that, you know. But he ended up, his first roller coaster was Mine Train.
Oh, so that's that. Like big for a first one.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
We were like, okay. So him and my husband did that one. And then I think he ended up doing that twice in one day. And then him and I did Thunder Mountain. And then he was like, all right, I want to do Splash Mountain. And we were like, yeah. Because again, for me, I went on Thunder Mountain and Splash Mountain growing up, and I was terrified and would like sit next to my dad and like hold his arm and be like, oh my God, and hide my face. I still kind of hide my face sometimes or close my eyes. And I didn't go on Space Mountain until I was like 16. So like, you know, this was amazing. So we go down Splash Mountain, and it was also like the slowest one, because as we're going, like the ride is stopping and I'm like, oh my God, please don't exit us off this ride. He will never come on this again if we have to exit. But we were like stopped a bunch and then we're just stopped, you know, at the birds, and it's dark and scary and you're about to go up the hill and I'm like, oh my God, please. And it's also like 10 o'clock at night because I'm a big believer in naps during the day to keep your kids up later if you want. So, I mean, they are in bed super early at home. But for that, they were up. So it was like 10 o'clock. So I'm like, he's tired. It's getting a little creepy. We've been on this ride for way too long at this point. But we did it. He put up his hands I've never done that on Splash Mountain. He put up his hands. Where's that picture, Disney? Where's my picture? Never saw it.
Oh, you didn't get it?
Never saw that photograph. Wrote to Disney twice. It's fine. I don't even want to get into it. But point is, I was so proud of him for doing it. But he amazed us that day that the whole trip, he was like, no, not into it, not feeling it. And then that day, he just went crazy. But what's funny is we went back last summer and he was like, nah, I'm good. Almost like, I've done it. I'm good now. I don't need to do it again. We're like, oh, are you sure? You sure you don't want to go on something? We kind of want to go on some stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, have you been back to like Hollywood Studios since then? Or was it the initial no to Slinky Dog but not a chance since then?
We have been back and it's still a no.
Still a no.
So we're just waiting it out. And we're like, but you did this, you did this. And like, nope, still no. So
yeah, that's funny. I would definitely think Splash Mountain would be scarier than Slinky Dog. That's my personal opinion. I don't everyone's gonna have their own vibes, but
yeah, you would think seeing everyone come down that hill, I'm like,
it's big.
Yeah. But I don't know if it's just like you see all of Slinky Dog, so you can kind of see them go up and like come down really fast. I don't know if it's just seeing more of it that's a little maybe weirder. I'm not sure, but we'll get on it at some point, I'm sure.
So he totally skipped Barnstormer then, which is I think a lot of people's firsts.
Yeah, I've never been on it, and nor
I don't think you need to go on it.
Yeah, Frank did it. His first post like 2020 trip, he did it, and just to do it because he had never.
I think I've been on it once. Just
what is this? Hurts. This ride hurts. What is?
That's the other thing about Seven Dwarfs Mine Train or Slinky Dog or the newer ones is they're much smoother. It's a more pleasant experience just because it's not so like rickety. Like Space Mountain's pretty bad. Big Thunder's getting kind of bad.
Yeah, it's like, and I'm like, am I just getting older? Am I feeling this ride more? I'm not sure. I think but both.
It's the ride's getting older and we're getting older. But like Seven Dwarfs is very smooth. It's very enjoyable. I can't believe that was his first. That's so funny.
I know. Yeah.
And then your younger is not tall enough yet, or just not interested.
Not interested. I think probably last summer she probably was tall enough for some things, but she has no interest. So, and again, I'm kind of like, I'll wait it out because we are people that are going to go back to Disney and have been there a bunch. I'm like, I'll wait this out. I'm not forcing you on anything. And, you want to try it, let's go for it. I kind of try to like nudge them in the direction, especially like leading up to the trip and trying to get them excited about certain things. But I'm like, but I'm also not going to like drag you on something. I don't want to bring you on a ride crying. I don't want you freaking out. I don't want you sitting there and wanting to be like, get me out there. So, I mean, I've had that feeling. So as an adult, so I don't, we'll see how it goes. One day they could both surprise us and go on crazy things. Who knows?
Someday, eventually, I'm sure.
Exactly.
And then so in your, I guess you'll obviously consider your kids a bit, but putting them exactly aside, what would be sort of your group of better babyish coasters to start out with before you graduate on to your, Tower of Terrors?
Right. I mean, I do think, I do kind of feel like Thunder Mountain, although it's, a little jerky at times, I don't think that's too bad of one as a kid, only because like one, you get to sit with someone. My issue with like Space Mountain is, besides being in the dark, which might be an issue, is that you're by yourself in the seat. And sometimes that can be super scary. Like sometimes it helps to like hold on to a parent. I might be speaking from personal experiences, but like sometimes it just feels better to be next to someone. And Test Track, I kind of feel like, although my kids have not been on it, I feel like although that's not a coaster, it might just be like a good little opener for something fast because it just goes fast at the end and it's kind of exciting and it might get them to that like next level of like, oh, I like faster rides. Maybe I can try some more things out. Then you have something like Star Tours, which my 6-year-old is like obsessed with, and we went on it 3 times in the course of a few hours last time we were there, which we didn't see coming at all. But something like that, again, not a roller coaster, but it's jerky and it's different and it's, got the screen. I just think sometimes graduating to those little not so intense rides might just help open them up to go, oh, well, maybe this wouldn't be so bad over here. Maybe if they're not thinking about going on totally blanking on the Falcon on Smuggler's Run quite yet. But if they do like Star Tours, be like, it's actually not that different over here, and you get to press buttons. Something like that might help pave the way.
Have your kids not done Smuggler's Run yet?
The almost 9-year-old has. My 6-year-old has not. She almost did it last time, and then was like, no. But that was before the 3 times on Star Tours. So now we might be able to get her over there. I
think you have a clear lane forward.
Yes, exactly. The 9-year-old has done it a couple of times, and he did Rise last time we were there. I don't think they could do that 2 years ago, so that was good. But I'm trying to think of like other rides that might help get them there. I mean, the Barnstormer probably can't hurt to go on it, and sometimes, although that's pretty rickety and might jerk you around a little bit, it kind of gives them the feel of a roller coaster and goes a little bit slower, and so they kind of just get the idea of it, and then maybe they won't be as freaked out maybe until they go on the next one and go, that wasn't anything like the Barnstormer. But and the 9-year-old loved Mine Train, so I guess you never know.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of just up to them in the moment, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Have they like ever been interested in Slinky Dog? Like when you're watching like POVs at home and like, oh yeah, and then
yes.
Okay.
When we watched the POVs, and we even like during 2020 when everything was shut down, we had like a whole Disney day in the house where we watched POVs. We put them in laundry baskets and like just did the movements of the ride too. Doing it. Oh, 2020, what a time. And they were so excited and they love that. And they've watched that ride since. And anytime they watch it, they're always like, oh yeah, maybe. No. So I think they'll get there one day. Someday they'll get there.
And then this will be super individual to everyone's child, obviously. But do your kids have like, like Star Tours, for example, like, oh, they could ride this forever. There's something about this ride that just is really alluring to them, or like a group of rides, like the slow boat rides or whatever.
Right. I think Star Tours for sure.
Apparently
Mickey and Minnie's. Yeah.
Oh,
Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway for
That's
sure. Yeah, like sometimes I'll ask them if we could just do like one day in Disney, like right now, if we could just go right now, which park would you go to? And they'll say Hollywood Studios, #goes MGM, Hollywood Studios. And they'll say, we have to go on Star Tours, we have to go on Mickey and Minnie's, because they really loved Mickey and Minnie's 2 summers ago. So then you added Star Tours to it last year. And I was like, whoa. And they love Toy Story Mania as well. So like they kind of, there's some good ones I feel like in the studios now. And they like being in Galaxy's Edge too. And they've, built droids right here. And they, so they've had those experiences. So yeah, so I think for like the studios, I would say that in Magic Kingdom, a lot of Tomorrowland stuff. So they like the People Mover. They like Buzz Lightyear. They like the Speedway. They like the Laugh Floor, even though that's not a moving ride. But so, yeah, and they like Fantasyland rides as well. The 6-year-old especially will go on the carousel 10 times if she can. So she's all about that one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Have they been on Flight of Passage?
No.
No interest? Too short?
I think I guess we could do it. The line wouldn't be so bad with like now that, because we do the DOS pass. So I guess it wouldn't be too bad with that. I went on it for the first time 2 summers ago. And kind of at that point, like they didn't have any interest in it. So I don't know. I think maybe the 9-year-old I could see being a little bit more into it. Maybe that's
an interesting hybrid to me of like, I don't actually think it's that scary or thrilling, but when you with the visualizations and sort of the breeze that they pump in and like try to make you feel like you're doing the flying, like it is a little intense.
Yeah.
But it's not Expedition Everest. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And I haven't taken them on Soarin yet. And
okay. I would do Soarin before Flight of
yeah,
Passage.
exactly. Yes. And I think I've been a little nervous because my son has sensory issues. And so I think I've been nervous about the idea of like lifting him somewhere. And then if he was like, no, I don't want to do this. But I think now maybe like if we talked it through more, I think he would be fine. Just being like, you have to stay still in your seat and you cannot move. He's never done that. Like he's never gotten up on a ride or anything. But I'm like, I think that's always been my fear of like just being suspended in the air and them freaking out or something. But I'm sure if it really got bad, we could be like, let us down, and everyone could hit us and we would be like a viral video. But I don't think that would happen. But yeah, I think I would do that probably before Flight of Passage for them, for sure.
Definitely. Although you're not like, well, it doesn't feel like you're suspended in the air on Flight of Passage.
Right.
Like you are super aware of it on Soarin because you feel very like snug and tucked in. Same with, Test Track, you feel very like snug. And secure. And
I think they would probably be into Soarin now. Like now I'm trying to like, if I picture them on it, I think they would be way more into it now than they would have been in the past. So maybe
Growth
that's next on the list. Yeah, exactly.
Do you have big aspirations for your next trip with them in terms of getting a ride or two conquered? Do they have aspirations?
They were a little bit spoiled last year because it was my 40th birthday. So my parents had gifted me 4 nights at the Polynesian, which was incredibly kind of them. However, my kids are like, man, I wish I was at the Polynesian right now. Like having breakfast.
Me too.
Watching, right? I'm like, same. Also, sidebar. It's not typical. It's like not what we're doing from now on. So unfortunately, I would love to, but unfortunately, that's not going to be our life. So I don't think they just want to go back. Luckily, they have been given the Disney DNA and are enjoying it. So that's good. And I don't know that they want to do anything different that I've heard, but they do want to do many things that they've already done again. So we'll see how it goes. My parents had gotten them the like a kid's guide to Disney, like the Birnbaum's book. So I'll have to like try to look through that with them again and be like, hey, we haven't done this. You guys want to try this? What do you think about this? And see what they're thinking for the next trip.
Well, I look forward to hearing back, and I super look forward to hearing someday, eventually, when one or both of them goes on Slinky Dog Dash, because I don't think it's as bad as they built it up in their mind.
No, definitely not.
Especially if your older child liked Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
Yeah.
It's really not that different.
Yes. I think once they're on it, they will love it. It's just getting them over the threshold. So one day we'll get them on there.
I get that. Yeah. I've been that kid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. Sure.
Awesome. Well, do you have any other tips, tricks, tidbits, wisdom to share?
Oh, my goodness. I think, in the world of rides, again, I'm coming from someone who's been at Disney and will continue to go to Disney. I understand that some people save up for years to go. I understand that some people are going to go once every 5 to 10 years, whatever it is. So you really want to like do as much as you can and see as much as you can. But we have an expression on Theme Park Thursday, which is Dillo the expectations, which is just to really like keep your expectations a little bit lower of like, you may not ride everything. You may not get on everything. But try to really have the kids kind of dictate, I would say. I know that's kind of hard to do because you're all trying to have a vacation, even though vacationing with kids is kind of weird. But you're trying to like have a good time and make the memories and all of that. So like, if they're not feeling it, like don't force it. Or if they're like too tired, try again later. Please don't rope drop to fireworks. Just take a break, please. But yeah, I think with rides, if you really want to experience something, do the rider swap. And if you don't get on everything, just focus on like the memories and not so much like what you did or didn't get to do. Like, I think like the whole experience of Disney is really cool if you're able to like take that in. So, and it can be really hard to do when you're taking kids to Disney because there's just so much happening and you're have little ones that you're running after. So if you can do that as much as possible, you'll be good.
breathe in the Disney air.
Breathe in that Disney breeze.
Well, thanks so much, Jen.
Thank you.
Reflecting after this conversation, I'm not really sure what my first baby roller coaster would have been, but I can tell you for sure that I made a big jump from being a scaredy cat to loving roller coasters when I was about 11 or 12. We were on a trip with my gymnastics team in Florida for a competition, and we went to Islands of Adventure for a day. I can't remember the exact order. I don't know if we went on the Hulk first or Dueling Dragons, but I know I did both that day, and I know I absolutely got peer pressured into it by the older gymnasts that I admired so much. I'm not advocating bullying or peer pressuring, I'm just saying it did work for me, and now I love coasters. What do you think your ideal progression of more thrilling rides through Walt Disney World would be? I definitely would save something like Expedition Everest and Guardians of the Galaxy and Space Mountain toward the end. I think being in the dark really does change things. I'm excited to hear your thoughts below, and I hope you found this conversation series with Jen helpful. Be sure to give Jen and Dillo's Diz a follow over on whatever social media platforms you prefer, and Dillo's Diz is on YouTube, so subscribe. And if you did enjoy this series, please do like the videos and subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can then ring the bell icon to receive notifications whenever I upload new videos. This is the end of our first conversation series with Jen. But if you found this video format helpful and you have questions about Disney World that maybe I can't address personally very well, but my friends, people in my network could, I'm happy to have other guests on, so always happy to have your comments below with suggestions. And while I can easily go through the logistics, we could just talk about height requirements for rides. I hope that this peek into Jen's kids and her family is more helpful for you, perhaps a little bit more insightful than just the dry, boring facts. May the rest of your day be magical, and we'll see you real soon at Pixie Dust PhD.